channel. Over here we talk about all things love, relationship, and everyday life when it comes to intercultural marriages. In today's video, I'm going to share with you tips and advice on how to successfully get your spouse's green card approved to the U.S. My husband and I, we got his green card approved in 2019, and I'm going to share with you how we were able to do it by ourselves and we did not ever hire a lawyer. If this sounds interesting to you, please click the subscribe button below and like and share this video. Okay, so overall, when you're applying for a U.S. visa, a U.S. spousal visa, it's a three-step process. So I plan to break this video up into three parts. The first part is petitioning for the visa through the USCIS. The second part is going through the National Visa Center. And then the third and final part is the actual interview. USCIS stands for the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. So it's a government agency that oversees the lawful immigration to the United States. So the first step is to petition for a green card, which is also known as a permanent resident card. And this card allows you to live and to work permanently in the United States. So first you have to determine if you're eligible to apply for a green card. You can be eligible to petition for a green card through your family, or you can be eligible to petition for a green card through employment. So there's various categories. But today we're talking about green card eligibility through an immediate relative. Now there are different steps if you're applying for a spouse that lives in the United States, or you're applying for a spouse that lives abroad. I'm focusing on a spouse who is living abroad. For a spouse that lives in the United States, then this process will be referred to as adjustment of status. So he's here and you're just trying to change his status to a permanent resident, versus a spouse that lives abroad. You will have to go through what is called consular processing, meaning you will have to have the interview at the embassy, at the U.S. embassy in that country. So again, this video is about petitioning for a spouse that lives abroad. So once you've established that you're eligible to apply for the green card, then you will have that U.S. citizen petition for the green card. And the form that they will use is called Form I-130 Petition for Alien Relative. Now there are two options to petition. You can do it online through the USCIS, or you can fill out the form and send it through the mail. At the time that my husband and I did it, online wasn't available, so we had to I had to fill out the paperwork and then mail it in. I would suggest that you do it online. So you're going to have to fill out the form in its entirety. There's 4 parts to the form. There's also a filing fee that's currently $535. And in addition, you're going to also need to submit evidence to establish both your identity and then to establish your relationship with your relative. Now, if any of your documentations that you're providing is in another language, you're going to have to get a full English translation of those documents. So please keep that in mind. Some of the evidence that you will submit for to establish your U.S. citizenship will be things like either a birth certificate or an unexpired copy of your passport. So all of the evidence that you're submitting are copies. You don't have to submit like the actual birth certificate. You can just make a copy of the birth certificate. But evidence of establishing your family relationship, then you would, of course, if this is a spouse, then you will have to submit a copy of your marriage certificate. Now keep in mind, if you were previously married, you're going to have to include a copy of your divorce decree as well. Also want to give evidence of a bona fide relationship or a bona fide marriage. They want to know that this marriage is real. You would include things like ownership of property. Now, when you're with a spouse that lives in the U.S., then you probably have more evidence to establish that relationship. Like you may have joint financial information together, like you both may share a credit card, you both may be on a lease or a mortgage, you may have land, just things that you do together as a spouse, then you would want to include that. However, when it comes to a spouse that lives outside of the country, you may not have established things like that. So just make sure to include your marriage certificate, and then other things such as photos of you and your spouse together, photos of you and your spouse's families, like your mother, your father, his mother and father, his siblings, anything that can show that this is a bona fide, a real relationship. If you have copies of any travel documents, your plane tickets, include that as well. Some people include affidavits of support, like a letter from their family saying, we are aware of this marriage, we support this marriage, hey, we attended the wedding, or but those don't have as much weight as some people tend to think. But I say include whatever you have. Go ahead and include that in the packet. You also may want to include, or you can include, like for my husband and I, we included like chat messages. We talked a lot on WhatsApp, so I just printed out our chat messages and included that. Also keep in mind what you're putting in there, because don't think that they're just going to gloss over it. They may take the time, you never know, they may take the time to read it. So you don't want to put anything that's going to be incriminated or draw a red flag on yourself. Just be open and honest about the relationship, because if this is a bona fide relationship, you don't have anything to hide. Also, what I included in my packet was I showed where I changed my marital status through my job, that I went from being single to married. So I print that out through my HR portal through my job, and I added that into my packet. So anything that can show that you are married to this person, you're tied to this person, include those documents. My husband was a additional user on one of my credit cards, so I made sure to include that in there as well. What I found very helpful for me also was this website called visajourney.com. I'll include that in my, I'll include the link in the comments below. That particular website was extremely helpful. Me following that website eliminated the need for me to even have a lawyer. However, let me preface and say, if your case is straightforward, you don't have any criminal background history, your spouse doesn't have any criminal background history, you haven't applied for 3 or 4 other people to come over to the U.S. Your spouse hasn't attempted to apply 50 times to come to the U.S., or your spouse never had issues where he was in the U.S. and he got deported. If there's no issues like that, then you don't need a lawyer. However, if there is some type of legal issues that you're in, you applied before for someone, you petitioned before for someone, they were denied. If there's any ongoing issues, you might want to have a consultation with a lawyer to see if their services will be of value to you. Now, I did have a consultation with a lawyer. I sat down, I spoke with her, and I was considering it, and then I found visajourney.com, and they basically said, you don't need a lawyer. If you can read and write and follow directions, you should be able to do this yourself. And it was true. You just have to read with understanding, make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's, follow the directions. On the Visa Journey website, there's guides on how to fill out the paperwork, how to submit it. There's forums where people are talking about their particular situations, asking questions. So you get a lot of feedback. You can ask questions. It's just very supportive. They even have forums where they are country specific. So say you're applying from the UK, then you can go to that UK forum and they'll have people there telling you about their experience, telling you about the embassy there, just giving you loads and loads of useful information. Visa Journey literally holds your hand and walks you through the process. Then you can find support of other people who may be submitting around the same time you are, giving you support and information when you need it. Just having like-minded people who are going through the same process as you, just having that connection and that understanding is so it's such a good thing to have. So I would highly recommend that you check out Visa Journey, read through it, and decide for yourself if you feel that you can do this on your own. It's really is the choices up to you. If you feel more comfortable hiring an attorney, then you do that. I'm not here to say one way is better than the other one. You have to do what works best for your family and what you're more comfortable with. But I just want you to know that you can do it by yourself. Again, if you don't have any like major financial or legal issues going on, you can do it by yourself. Also, some other tips that I want to say is just be truthful and honest. If this is a legitimate, bona fide marriage, you have nothing to worry about. Just follow directions, give them the information. On one tip that Visa Journey says, when you're filling out this information, don't leave anything blank. So if you can put NA in fields that don't qualify for you, make sure to include NA in those fields. I know online there's some, as you toggle through, there may be some questions where they don't allow you to, either you're going to put an answer or you're not. They don't allow you to put NA. Then that's fine. But if you can enter NA, go ahead and enter it. Don't try not to leave anything blank. Also, do not forget at the end. Do not forget at the end. Do not forget at the end to sign your document. A lot of people forget to sign their document. Please don't forget to sign the document. Also, from being on Visa Journey, I heard a lot of stories about people who submitted so much information, like thousands of photos, thousand pages of chat messages, only to be denied. Keep this in mind. It is not about the quantity. It is not about how much information you're submitting. It's about the quality of information you're submitting. Let me say that again. It's not about how much photos, chat messages that you're submitting. It's about the quality of the evidence. It's the quality of the photos, the quality of the documentations that you're submitting. So whatever you're submitting has to show to that officer or whoever's looking at your documents, show your love story. That's basically what it's saying. You're not there to tell a story. Your paperwork, your evidence is showing it. Your picture should show, this is my husband. We love each other. Now, we don't need to see any lewd stuff, you kissing all up on each other. They don't want to see that. They even mention that online. Like, we don't want to see all that. But, sharing where y'all are out at different places. Like, it's not photos of just you, selfies of you and him. Photos of you and his family engaging in some type of activity. Maybe you're out shopping, you're out sightseeing or something. You're playing with his niece or nephew. You sitting with his mom cooking. Things that show a story of this is my husband and this is our family. They know about us. What I included was, I only had maybe 8 to 10 pictures. I don't even think it was that many. And my pictures just showed me and my husband at the mall, me, my husband and his mom and one of his sisters hanging out. Okay, please forgive this angle. I had to recharge my phone and I'm just holding it in my hand right now. So what I was saying prior was, I only submitted maybe a few photos in my packet. It was just photos of my husband and his family and the time that we spent together. So don't focus so much on not having a lot of evidence or not having enough information. Focus on what you do have and submit that and let that information tell your story. Like I said prior, I think I said this prior, there were a lot of people on the visajourney.com website that were so nervous and afraid because they felt like they didn't have enough information and that they were going to get denied. And then we have this whole other spectrum of people that had tons and tons of information that they submitted to the USCIS, and they had all this information they submitted and they got denied. They had everything you could think of that you would probably want to submit in a packet when you're submitting for a visa, but for whatever reason or not, they were not approved. So it's not, that just goes to show it's not about the quantity or how much information you have. It truly is about the quality, and do they believe that this is a bona fide marriage. Your information that you submit must tell the story. Like I said before, you submitted all these chat messages. What are these chat messages saying? Or is it showing an evolving relationship that turned into a marriage, or is it showing something else? Like in mine, I made sure to include when we were having discussions about, are your intentions real? I need to know that this is real because I'm not about the games. Hey. And whenever we had disagreements, just to show that this is a real relationship that evolved, you just want to make sure that the evidence you're submitting is going to answer any questions. Like if you feel like you have red flags, you want whatever you're submitting to be able to answer to those red flags, to be able to answer to any questions or concerns the officer might have. You want to be able to submit the evidence, if you have it, that will be able to address those concerns. That's all you're trying to do when you submit your evidence, to show, yes, this is a marriage, and this is why. We have this issue, and this is why. That's all. Get my drift. So also, I wanted to say, in this first step, when you're submitting to the USCIS, again, this is not to get approval for a visa or for a green card, but to get approval to submit, to apply for a visa or a green card. So once you get approval from USCIS, this approval is not to say that you are getting a green card. This approval is to say, yes, you can move forward and apply, and then you will be moving forward to the National Visa Center, which is step number 2 that I will address in another video. So you will be getting two or more forms of communication from USCIS. The first will be what is Form 797C, and this form is just letting you know that USCIS has received your application and they are processing it. So that's your first NOA, as it's also called, letting you know that they got your packet. The second notice of action, or NOA 2, will be the actual approval for you to proceed to apply for the visa. So the second communication for USCIS will be the notification, NOA 2, that says you're approved to apply for the visa. So then you'll be moving on to step 2, which will be with the National Visa Center. So USCIS will take your entire packet and forward it to the National Visa Center, and there you will have to proceed on to step 2, which I will discuss in my next video. So I hope that you found this information helpful. If there was any questions or any things that you felt that I didn't answer, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will try my best to answer those questions. And again, don't forget to please subscribe, comment, like, share, and I'll see you guys in the next video.